talk about calculating definite integrals using a calculator. We have two options. We have the calculate menu or the math menu. Let's look at the calculate menu first. So here's our examples. Now, couple steps to using the calculate menu. Step 1 is you need to type your equation into the y1 or y2 into the y equals of your graph. After you do that, you're going to hit graph. Then you're going to hit second trace. That takes you into the calculate menu. And it's going to be number 7. And then from there, it's going to ask you for your lower limit and your upper limit. So here's our lower limit, there's our upper limit. And then you hit enter, and it will give you a number, and that's your answer. So let's go through and do an example. Let me reset this so we can start again. Okay. So we're going to go into y equals, and we're going to type our equation, which should be x cubed minus 6x. Then we're going to hit graph, and then we're going to hit second trace. That takes us into the calculate menu, and we want number 7 right there. Now it asks for our lower limit, which should be -3, enter, and our upper limit, which should be 1, enter. And you'll see here how it colors in that signed area between the curve and the x-axis. That's what a definite integral is, the area between the curve and the x-axis. So this area would be negative, this area would all be positive, and this area would be negative. And then you just add those areas together to get your answer. And it gives it to us right there. So the area of that shape would be 4. So we can go back to our notes, and that's our answer, 4. Okay, so knowing that, I want you to try number 2 and number 3. Number 2 uses the same equation. Number 3 has a slightly different one. So try typing those in, following these instructions, and then come back to check your work and see how you did. Talk about number 2 first. You should have gotten 0. Now if we come in and look at it, here's our graph. So essentially what it's saying is this negative area is the same size as this positive area. So that's why the signed area is 0, because the negative is the same as the positive. They balance each other out. So that's what you should get for number 2. Let's look at number 3. So here's my number 3. I have my equation right there. By the way, if you forgot how to do your absolute value bar, you go to math, arrow over to num, and it's number 1 right there. So I typed in my equation, here's my graph, then I did second trace, number 7, lower limit was -5, upper limit was +5, and here's all my signed area, so definitely a lot of positive, and here's my answer, 198.501. So let's go back here, 198.501, and that's the answer. Okay, let's try the second method by using the math menu. Now the math menu only provides the value of the definite integral, but that's usually all that we need. So you're not going to see like a picture graph this time. It's just going to give you the answer, but that's usually all that we need. Now here's the big part. The math menu gives a more accurate answer. So using this math menu is recommended from here on out. So let's talk about how to do this one. Step number 1 is you're going to hit your math button. And then step number 2, you're going to hit number 9. So let's try number 4. So let's hit our math button. And then if I arrow down, there's number 9, my integral. And it just gives me an integral right here. So I'm going to type this in from -5 to +5. Here's my equation. So I want absolute value of x cubed minus 6x, and this is going to be dx. And then I hit enter. Now, notice this answer is different than the one we got in number 3. This answer is 198.500. And remember that your AP test goes to 3 decimals. And if you are even off by the 3rd decimal, so 0.501 or 0.500, they will mark it wrong. So you have to be careful about that. This math menu is more accurate, so use it from here on out. Now, one little side note, just so you know, right here, if you have an older calculator, so it doesn't give you that fancy menu, this is how you would type it in. So here's your equation, here's your dx, what variable you're integrating in, lower limit, upper limit. Okay, that is it for this video. We're all done calculating the definite integral using a calculator. From here on out, we're going to do it by hand for the rest of this lesson.